Welcome to DIY Abled's Cripstory, where you can learn about disabled people throughout time. Today's Cripstory is about Ed Roberts. In 1953, Ed Roberts contracted polio at the age of 14. He spent 18 months in the hospital and returned home paralyzed from the neck down, except for 2 fingers and several toes. Because he had trouble breathing on his own, at night he slept in an iron lung, a very large device that assisted people to breathe, and he often rested during the day. When he was out of the iron lung, he survived by using a technique called frog breathing, a technique that divers use to force air into their lungs using their facial and neck muscles. He attended school by telephone communication until his mother, Zona, insisted he attend school at least once a week for a few hours. At school, Roberts faced one of his deepest fears of being stared at, and this forced him to transform his sense of personal identity. He gave up thinking of himself as a helpless cripple and decided to think of himself as a star. He credits his mother for teaching him by example of how to fight for what he needed. Ed Roberts is often called the father of the independent living movement. His career as an advocate began when he had to advocate for himself. A high school administrator threatened to deny him his diploma because he had not completed driver's education or physical education. His next act of advocacy for himself was after he had attended the College of San Mateo and had been admitted to the University of California, Berkeley. He had to fight for the support he needed to attend college from the California Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. But because his rehabilitation counselor thought he was too severely disabled to ever get a job, they denied him the support he needed. Upon learning about Roberts' severe disability, one of the University of California, Berkeley deans famously commented, "We've tried cripples before and it didn't work." Fortunately for Ed Roberts, other administrators supported his admission to Berkeley and expressed their opinion that the university should try to do more. He was finally admitted in 1962, but was met with the obstacle of finding housing because he had an 800-pound iron lung that he slept in at night. The director of the campus of health services offered him a room in an empty wing of the Cowell Hospital. Roberts accepted this on the condition that the area where he lived would not be treated as a medical facility, but rather as a dormitory space. Ed Roberts' admission opened up the door for other students with severe disabilities who joined him over the next few years at what evolved into the Cowell Residence Program. He earned a bachelor's and a master's from the University of California, Berkeley campus in political science. In 1976, when Jerry Brown had just been elected the new governor of California, Ed Roberts was asked to be the director of the California Department of Vocational Rehabilitation. This was the same agency that had labeled him to be too severely disabled to work. When the politics in California shifted to the right, he returned to Berkeley, where he co-founded the World Institute of Disability with Judy Heumann and Joan Leon. Ed Roberts is one of the most famous disability activists that we know of today. This Cripstory is merely a small slice of what he did for the disability community. I urge you to go look him up and learn more about him. You will find a person who could have never imagined disabled people living the way they do today, but he did it anyway and carved out what he could to make sure disabled people had just as much equality as non-disabled people.